back. At least
a slight update as well with how she works. No longer just upgrading when you get spells to max rank. It's all about getting them splinters working. I'll see how that one is going to go, as Fate not going to get stunned, but still has to use the flash. So Canyon, successful gank straight out the gate here, 2.5 minutes.
Yep, no commitment from Shoemaker or Canyon and Summoners. Just the scatter attempt alone forces him to flash. He dies 100% if he gets caught by that, then gets queued by Canyon.
Ooh, Deft able to spell shield a bit of the incoming danger. As Beryl, with his life just a little bit. Heal is going to be thrown out here. Flash forward from Beryl. Man, they are playing some aggressive League of Legends here towards the bottom side, but it's going to bite him in the backside. Beryl goes down. First blood goes to Kellen.
It's such a Beryl move right there. You can see the blood in the water. He's like, I can pull this off. We have the ignite.
Oh, Canyon.
Oh, this is
Canyon.
rough.
He read him like a book. And Croco's like, okay, never mind, I'm getting out. The cat is going to dive after them, and that's going to mean the escape route has been put in place. But man, does Canyon just have like
he's got map hacks?
Black sheep wall? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, he's got map hacks. He knows what's going on. He's just got such a great game sense. And when you're trying to play around top side like this, after you make a bottom side play like that, where Beryl dies, you've got to get something cross map. You're trying to set up things on both sides of the rift, but it's pretty easy for Canyon to figure out there's a high possibility of this. He's there to punish, forces the gank to fail, and still a significant CS lead for Rascal this time around, having a much better time in this lane than he did in the previous game. And remember, he forced Hop at level 1 last game.
Yep.
So very different game here, but he's having a much better job, or having a much better time this time around. But let's go back to this bottom gank, where Beryl is super low, and they heal to engage to put him into flash range here, but it just doesn't matter. Sivir's damage is too high at level 2.
In the meantime, bit of a battle here as Fate's going to go down. That's the resonating strike. We knew that he was going to fall, but Croco not able to get anything in response. And this game, last time around, DRX were able to get that first blood, start off on a decent footing. This time around, it's all D plus Kia.
All I can think about is that, Beryl gank there, bottom side, the flash forward ignite, and I think this really, this is a matchup that normally goes pretty back and forth. It's a slow, boring matchup where one player doesn't have insane prio, or one duo doesn't have insane prio. You don't actually have a mass amount of control, but because of that play, they actually do get a huge edge. As let's watch how this one started off. The scatter is dodged, but it forces Fate to kite left, where Canyon actually catches him, can connect the Q there, and just jump past Croco for the kill.
Yep. Croco is going to now start his work on the Hextech Drake. So at least first Drake likely going over to DRX here, and of course, no one really in the... Oh, never mind. There is a control ward down, but it's just Kellen. So you can't actually you and me to a ward, and therefore he's not going to be able to get in there and try and steal it away or anything like that. Canyon nowhere near the vicinity. So, bit of good news here for DRX as they take down the dragon. But that is... I mean, we're clutching at straws when it comes to DRX. Good news here in game number 2.
Yeah, it has been, I think, really just about Rascal, and we haven't panned up to the top lane too much, but as 6 is hit for Kana, this lane can change quite significantly. You can see it on the minimap how it has changed, where the position of the wave is, but at least Rascal has taken a pretty nice edge up there in the top side, and that's one of your big win conditions later on with this Victor comp, where you have the scaling with Zeri Victor, but you also have the ability to threaten team fights on your terms despite the good engages, if that Jax can side lane and put the threat on those inner turrets and inhibitors when we get to the late game. Got a lot of win conditions, but so far it's been pretty smooth sailing here for Dom 1, or rather D+.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get fired.
Yeah, Nara is going to get avoided. It's all right. I'll be in your corner trying to defend if indeed that does come to pass, Wolf, because I've been struggling with it as well.
I was feeling really good about it at the beginning. I'm like, wow, I really haven't made any mistakes, and then it was like just a chain of them.
Yeah.
Once you get confident, that's when you slip.
Yeah. But what I was feeling really self-conscious about it, and then Valdez just like straight deadpan just makes the mistake and doesn't even notice on the no carpet space, and so it made me feel a little bit better about the situation. But I think I've been doing the same thing the entire time, because I don't remember making a mistake, but I think I just say it wrong now because I'm so used to it.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. I think it's a play-by-play problem, because we don't have a lot of filter between our brain and our mouth, so we don't do a lot of thinking before we say stuff.
You don't have a lot of time, you got to talk really fast.
Yeah, that's
hard.
Kind of it. Anyway, excuses. We are going to do better in the future.
Yeah.
Ward does see the back here
or else
as Showmaker goes home.
G-Sun's going to have to impose a Chun-On fine. Like, we have to pay 1,000 won every time we mess it up.
Yep. That's exactly how
We'll
it goes.
start stacking it up. This Rascal's going to respect the Gnar this time. Didn't take a very bad trade before. Like, Kana's not able to chunk him down. So remember last time around this time of the game, Kana was able to get a solo kill with this wave. Won't be the case this time, but he's going to look for the Demolish proc on the turret.
Yep.
Rascal says no.
Yeah, the hop to answer the counter-strike, and that means that there is a decent sort of way of playing around Jax in what can be a very difficult time against this guy. Well, you can see, things not going quite as badly in the lanes for DRX. I feel like everything else has gone wrong this time around, outside of just laning phase becoming a huge issue. And we'll see whether they can leverage that in order to make things better for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Duckdom has a decent CS lead, so, you know, despite dying, or Barrel dying, despite losing the support here, the lane is still going just fine, and Zeri is still at the normal place you'd want to be. Gotta be careful about doing this again, though.
Yep, there's the heal. Ghost is being popped as well from Deft. So, doesn't land the Boomerang Blade, as now Canyon coming on in, looking to start Shelly off one more time, but back down here towards the bottom side. Gotta see whether any more action is going to come through. Prowling Projectile mitigated by the shield.
Yeah, this is just locking down the 2v2 so they could try to hold this Herald as much as possible. Kana has Prio topside, pushing Rascal back. Croco comes over here, but they have mid-Prio too. This is risky from Croco, just wants to go for the smite. Kicked away.
There's the kick. Smite does come through, but it's a little bit early. The smite comes in! Oh, Canyon. Not able to poke her in the eye, unfortunately. So that is going to be Croco returning the favor from game one.
Yeah, I think that's what he was thinking, is just I'm going to smite poke. Okay, Barrel.
Oh, yeah, there it is. But Duckdom's here with the answer, trying to get aggressive. Kellen has to use the exhaust here, and things are getting real dangerous, and this is where the real danger comes in. Showmaker coming down towards his bottom side. Gets the flash out of Duckdom.
You see that orb, and you flash.
Oh, yeah.
Might not have seen the Syndra before that. I think they probably did with that control ward, but when you see that orb, you flash, no questions asked. Duckdom gets out of dodge. But that's huge, actually, that Croco steals away the Rift Herald here. That's a lot of gold they can pick up here. Could change the way this top lane is going to go potentially here, or actually drop it mid. It's got a lot of options here, but either way, just a missed eye poke there from Canyon with the early smite, and Croco steals it away.
Yeah, I actually think it could be really impactful, because a lot of the reason why things went wrong for DRX was that, oh, okay, getting rid of a minion wave as best we can. Croco's going to come on over, and this may actually help delay some sort of Rift Herald placement.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to allow this one to go over for free, and obviously Canyon knows Croco doesn't have ult for a little bit longer here, so they can make this play pretty safely. As still Def losing a little bit of CS bottom side here.
Yeah, it's actually really good play from Duckdom as far as making sure he keeps those CS numbers up despite the early death for Barrel. Things otherwise in the lane definitely going well. Teleports come through back towards his top side. Rascal comes on in. Doesn't quite finish off his Divine Thunder just yet.
He does not want Kana to get these demolishes. He does not want him to get that plate. He's going to get it anyways, I think. As well, I guess we'll never know. So let's watch this. So this is early game, right? So smite down to 300. I think he was hoping he was going to get the eye, and Shirley turns.
Yeah, Shelly just turned
Shelly
around,
turns.
man. Sometimes she just does that to you.
Because you know, as Canyon in this case, you should get the eye poke because Croco's so far away. But he just, unfortunately, isn't able to get it. It's going to be mid-plates here for Fate.
Yeah. If her eye had been opened in the right direction, it would have been just smite eye poke, and she would have died. So, sad stuff, but still, great work there from Croco to make sure that he capitalizes effectively. DRX now moving in, try and get some stealing done. Canyon over here does have his cat available, as Deft avoids the extendo beam.
And Duckdom and Barrel have done such a great job of controlling this bottom 2v2, and Croco hasn't been needed so much that he's been able to stack up a lot of extra farm. They have a lot of ward control here that Fate's been maintaining. 2 control wards now, in fact, in the river. So they feel pretty good with Croco's ult coming back up here, Smite coming back up, to start this Drake up and look for a great turn with Maokai.
Sonic Wave doesn't quite find the mark. Deft here as well on the hunt at the ready. Collapse is coming through. Rascal, no teleport available, but isn't showing on the map. He could theoretically be walking down. Nature's Grasp comes in, but once again, it's a little bit early. Def has the spell shield, but it is going to make sure that they guarantee the Drake. Can they survive the fight, though, as Doctor throws through the ultimate? He's going down so incredibly low, though. The flash comes in from Def, and the exhaust is there to confirm the kill. Now Croco is fighting against Canyon, flashes the wall very, very nicely to keep himself alive, or at least for now. Showmaker not going to be able to quite find it. And D plus Kia able to find themselves yet another fight win.
Another fight win. The objective goes DRX's way, and they were spreading a lot of, or very little butter over a lot of bread there, DRX, and trying to hold this down, using the Maokai ultimate, then using the gravity field from Fate to try to lock down anyone from D plus Kia who chases through the choke point. Unfortunately, just a little bit too mobile there. They do end up getting through and grab that kill onto Duckdom. But the angle here for the root for Maokai also not amazing. Canyon slips through, and that's part of why he gets this taxi through. Decides to go for barrel here, has to flash out. Duckdom just left all on his lonesome. Cool idea here in terms of the heist for DRX. Ult with Maokai, put that gravity field down. Meanwhile,
all right, Counter-Strike does manage to get the stun here as the wallop comes in. Kana has to throw through the ultimate just for defense, and Canyon comes on in a little bit late. Does secure the cannon, however, so no -1s in the chat. That's a +1 right there.
+1 indeed. This is a very close game.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. DRX down 1,000 gold, but having that objective lead going into Mountain Soul for their Zeri that's already so difficult to kill with so much peel here in this comp is a scary prospect, and D plus Kia are going to need to start winning some team fights soon.
Yeah, it's about how
or
these how these compositions also function in the later stages of the game. I do feel like there is a lot of power for DRX once they do get to that point. We're already seeing that Duckdom has found a couple of these angles, but just doesn't quite have the damage just yet to really capitalize on it. We know kind of what's going to happen when eventually that critical mass is hit and that Zeri moment gets certified.
Yeah, because both of the real team fight wins here for D plus Kia were kind of very even here. And also we have this new graphic that shows you exactly where the gold went. LCK upgrading this year.
I know.
But both of the fight wins for D plus Kia were kind of punishes rather than I'm in control, I've set this up, we're going to take this objective, we're going to control it. So I'd like to see D plus Kia try to get a little bit more set up on these objectives. Look at the vision around Drake right now. Bottom side of the map is completely covered. There's a ward where Canyon is as well. So a lot of the movements here for D plus Kia are seen by DRX, which allows them to react appropriately. Rascal just going to sit this Narbar out.
Yep. And even on farm now, as Wallop does come through, Crush going to get him out of the way there. As the house has a decent hitbox on it, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
As Canyon's going to try this one yet again. This time he brings his cat with him, which I think is just a great thing to do. Just, if in doubt, bring your cat with you. It'll make you feel better.
Duckdom pushing this turret bottom side all the while, so DRX want to slow this down while Zeri gets some extra gold. And Deft is just hitting, of course, the Herald itself, so not getting the same amount of CS, so Duckdom getting a lot of value out of this. I don't think he'll quite get the entirety of the turret, but he got it very low.
He did indeed. No plates to worry about.
He's gonna get it.
Yeah, it's just being able to get down here, take down this turret. That is going to be their first of the game, and in fact, first Brick going over to the Zeri. That is really big.
I think the DRX making some great macro calls in this game.
Yeah. There's Counter-Strike just to make sure that no shenanigans come through from the Gnar. Deft at a pretty good point when it comes to being able to hoover up these waves, as Sivir loves to do, as the game goes on longer and longer, just with Kraken Slayer for now, but looking to grab that next item as soon as he possibly can.
And even with a small lead here for D plus Kia, without a 2 Drake advantage right now, even if they take this next one, there's no way to kind of lock the door on this area and say, all right, I'm going to shut you down right here. This is where we're going to start to take control of the map. They can win a very strong team fight here and a decisive one that'll give them a huge edge across the map, but need to make sure that setup is there. Kraken Slayer is up, obviously, for Sivir. She spikes a little bit earlier when we get to these 3rd Drake fights where it's just that Kraken Slayer versus the Immortal Shield Bow, but it's all about the setup, right? Because if Zeri can shoot a lot for a long time, she will get more value, right?
Yeah.
The longer fight is hers, especially when you have a Victor versus the Syndra that's a little bit more engage-based.
Yeah. Although, Sivir no slouch in the DPS department either, so eyes are going to be on both of these critical AD carries in these scenarios. I think that, Zeri has certainly been a little bit more of an issue in more recent games. But still, not going to sleep on the Sivir factor. Orbs being thrown through. Because I like the butterflies in the orbs on this skin.
Yeah,
Bit of
cool.
a fan, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But DRX getting pushed away. Boomerang Blade not going to get quite as much value as it looked like it was going to there onto Fate. Still, absolutely no worries. Rascal going to have to leap strike, get himself out of the way. They wanted a control ward in there, but it is going to be immediately removed. As we're fighting towards the very first Mountain Drake of the game.
Okay, Fate's coming down. His positioning is really good here. No one's threatening him at the moment. Gotta be careful about Scatter.
Yeah, decent stun. And you can see what happens once one of those CCs does connect. Growling Projectile comes down. Possibly the final chapter is going to be used. The go button could be pressed there by Deft as well. As the Rift Herald does come through. That is going to buy a lot of space here. I really like it from D plus Kia. They are forcing DRX through the do-si-do on their terms. They're going to be able to get the charge. That is going to guarantee vision control of this river as well, because this mid lane is now very long for DRX.
Fate gonna back here and TP back in if they're gonna actually commit to the dragon. And I think they will. This is a really tense moment because they're not set up anymore for a great Maokai ult. In fact, I think they're just gonna let this one go. Fate TP's bottom side though, and they're trying to push this bot wave out. They're not trying to position for the Drake on the actual river itself, but instead around the map, trying to pull D plus Kia down to answer that wave. And as a result, have wrestled back control. Croco's now in a position where he can use that Maokai ult for zoning.
Yeah. Croco got the evolution to Blaziken there, I believe, as well. Definitely very, very good. Might have been Charizard, but it felt third generation to me.
Yeah.
As, okay. D plus Kia, can they get themselves the steal? They want to do so to avoid the soul point that will be available here. Could potentially just go for a fight instead, as now Croco getting a bunch of this help back. There's the Nature's Grasp. Now he's just looking for Deft. Dives towards him. That's going to be the secure of the dragon for D plus Kia, and it's a disaster in its entirety for DRX. Oh my goodness, it couldn't have gone more wrong, as the Q does miss there from Canyon, but he's got a safeguard. The skate over the wall. Is the Q going to connect? No. But Doctorm is on the wrong side of the planet. Now, Deft is going to come on in. I guess no one really wants to try and tango with this Zeri, who's now underneath the turret. Deft does eventually take it down.
And this
that was
time,
not it for DRX.
This time, D plus Kia are going to have their cake and eat it. Is trying to dive through here and actually force this fight so deep into the backline onto Deft with the knock up there from Lulu is so aggressive that everybody is trapped here. You're dealing with Syndra, you're dealing with Meganar, and you've just walked right into all the CC. You need to carefully position around because you've decided now's the time we're going to dive the AD carry, and the result is disastrous. D plus Kia walk away with Dragon and a massive team fight win. So much money for Deft. 4 kills now in his pocket, and this game was close until this moment. Now D plus Kia have really pulled ahead.
Yeah, and I was focusing a lot on the Drake in that last fight, but Canna getting over that wall, narring everyone in, really just put a big stopper on what DRX wanted to do. So once again, Canna's Gnar is just really good. And you can understand why they're putting so much priority on it. Of course, Canna has been a real mastery player. I think we began talking about mastery players when the likes of Crown was still playing here in the LCK back in years like 2017 with his Malzahar and stuff like that. But he's the type of player that really latches on and plays extraordinarily well on a few picks at any one time. But those picks are really, really good. It used to be like Lucian and Graves and stuff like that. But this Gnar has always been sort of in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But it's looking like it is starting to move up to #1 here after today. And it certainly is based on the stats that we have for 2023.
Okay, well.
I've buffed
He's not alone.
Canna twice,
Yeah.
unless...
Cat and Elisen are coming down.
Just barely breezed past him there. As the final chapter comes in, they know that he cannot move, gets kicked back, and there's the Gnar into the wall. A very dead Jax that was just trying to split push, and then a blind dude with a cat came into his lane.
The grasping at straws for DRX in the series is very, very strong. As TP is going to be committed to, they can't actually cross-map this. Showmaker can buy unlimited time, clears the wave.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, as DRX, you've lost control of the bottom side lane. I mean, Sivir is just going to go over there and lap up the turret gold. And Like, when you look at how this comp functions as DRX, it is basically a long-term, longer fight Victor Zeri comp. But when you try to force dive, like you saw on the Def, it can backfire because there's so much peel. When you try to force side lane engages, we talked about how great Jax is in the side lane. Okay, try to kill the Gnar, try to get on top of him, but he kites you, gets his speed up, and then you take so long. Like, Canyon has enough time with the speed boost from Yumi to come in here and take you out. Narvar's done. Easy peasy cleanup. And this is just, unfortunately, desperation and a small macro mistake from Rascal, thinking he had enough space to pull this off, but in the 1v1 was going to struggle, but in a 1v3, no chance.
Absolutely. And I even think that Rascal might have been able to make something happen in the 1v1 if it was just them left alone and kind of didn't want to leave. Like, maybe there's a chance there, but even the cross map afterwards doesn't work. And oftentimes when you're playing these 1-3-1 style of compositions, even if